Hey guys, so today we are doing Blue Velvet as the film review, and I was between Blue Velvet and City of God because somebody actually requested that, and it's a really awesome movie, so I'm gonna do that next time. But I have
notes for Blue Velvet, so I didn't want them to go to waste. Also, I was making a small zine on Blue Velvet, so I did my research, and yeah. So, Blue Velvet, directed by David Lynch. Let's go.
so a short summary of the film is Jeffrey Beaumont, college-age student played by Kyle McLachlan, comes back to his hometown and he is introduced and befriends the young Sandy, who is played by Laura Dern. And as the two of them progress in their friendship, and I guess they become sort of like a loving relationship, she finds out that her father is a detective in town, and that they actually get involved in one of his cases where they try to not really meddle in, but I guess they try to discover the secret of this mysterious dark woman who is a singer at a smoky bar on the other side of the bad part of town. And the police have been like keeping an eye on her, and they try to find out why. And basically Jeffrey gets caught up in like really dark, shady people. And yeah, I don't really want to spoil this movie, even though I will later, but I don't want to spoil the whole plot. So that's my short summary, and I can't really give any negative or cons to this movie because I just really love this movie. I love David Lynch. I love David Lynch.
He's one of my favorite directors. Me and my friend were actually on a subway once. I think we were taking the L train back to Manhattan, and we saw this man with really gray hair, and we were both pretty drunk on the subway, and we were like, oh my god, it's David Lynch, and we started like screaming at him. It wasn't David Lynch. But anyways.
Velvet, there's a lot of, I guess, let me get into it. I guess I'll go with the pros right now. The acting is amazing. Dennis Hopper really delivered like this really frightening performance as Frank, who is the villain. You will see. Isabella Rossellini as Dorothy. She was also amazing. At first she came off as this character you didn't really know if you wanted to cheer for her. You didn't really know much about her. You didn't know what her intentions were. And you find out actually how damaged she is and how much of a she's inside like this really shady circle of people, and you really feel bad for her actually, and like you understand why she does the strange things that she does, and how bad she actually has it. And I think she was really well portrayed by Isabella, so that was really nice. Kyle McLachlan, that's his name, I think. McLachlan. Anyways, I can't hate him because he's just been in so many Lynch films, and I think his acting is always superb. Laura Dern is actually really weird to see in like David Lynch film because I don't know, she's just always been like the Jurassic Park one for me. So yeah, but she does portray this like sort of like really preppy high school girl really well, and it was kind of cheesy actually because it was kind of trying to like replicate like you know, those girls in the 50s with like the poodle skirt and like happy-go-lucky, and like so she did a good job of replicating that. So one of the key elements of this film is and one of the themes of this film is the duality of not only a person but also a town, an entity, which is actually a theme that Lynch actually talks about also in other films, like I guess Lost Highway would be considered one. That's more of the abstract versions of this theme. Twin Peaks, I would have to say, is, I guess, the better example. And because there was a doppelganger for everything. There were literal doppelgangers. There was the Black Lodge versus the White Lodge. The Double R Diner versus, I forget what that bar was called. What else? There was like literally the good Dale Cooper, the bad Dale Cooper. Laura's secret life versus how people actually saw her. There's just so many themes of like duality and like I guess like the good and the bad of people. You know, like that 1950s preppy all-American lifestyle versus something really actually insidious, like the underbelly of the town. So Lynch does like to, that is a theme of his. So this is, I guess, mainly portrayed in Blue Velvet as well.
Starting with like, I guess like the diner.
So one of the examples of this theme is the smoky bar, where Jeffrey sees Dorothy for the first time, versus where him and Sandy hang out, which is like this really cheerful 1950s-esque diner. What else? Sandy herself is the opposite of Dorothy, where Sandy's always dressed in these really like vibrant dresses and like I said, the 1950s kind of poodle skirt look, really innocent. Dorothy's always dressed in this like blue velvet gown, or like these really dark colored dresses, and she's just really like mysterious, and she doesn't really have any healthy relationships with people at the moment because of the situation she's caught in. Whereas Sandy actually does have really healthy relationships. She's a normal high school girl, so I guess they represent both of Jeffrey's worlds that he's caught in right now, which goes on to talking about Jeffrey himself, because at first he's really portrayed as this, I guess, normal do-gooder guy who's just trying to help the police solve this crime, even though he's not supposed to get involved in it. But then the more that he gets sucked into Dorothy's world, he kind of, I guess his true nature is shown, where he's not so good of a person, maybe, or it's implied. And there's a part where the villain, Frank, Dennis Hopper, himself looks at him and he says, "You're just like me," and that's a really, like, that was a turning point for him, because he realizes that he's actually following, instead of saving Dorothy from the life that she is currently living, he's actually following her deeper into the hole. So that's also really important, as the duality of the main character himself.
Dorothy is like supposed to represent the dark past of a person, where Sandy's supposed to represent the hopeful future, the bright future. And in a way, it's kind of like, who's Jeffrey gonna choose? Like, so that's something.
Another comparison is Dorothy as Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, even though it kind of sounds far-fetched for a second, but once you notice it, Dorothy is also lost in a world that she does not belong in. She also wears red shoes at a point, and people are like,
oh my god, that's such a stretch.
But if you look at it, it's kind of true. Like, she kind of finds friends who save her from the world that she is now, and she needs to get back home, so there's that. And yeah. And of course, another theme of Lynch is this 1950s perfect all-American town or place. That ideal notion that became really famous and, like, not famous, but like that people try to aspire to in the 80s. He just really wanted to show, I guess, the parallel, but also the dark side of it. So that's why this movie and like Twin Peaks and films such as that, they really show, that's the aesthetic. And like at first you see it and you're like,
wow, this is really nice. Like this looks like the 1950s.
And then he kind of shows within the film, like, I guess, like all the secrets that come with that aren't really told at the surface. So I guess his point is that no matter how nice something looks, there's always secrets on the other side. So like I said, the pros would be the acting, where Dennis Hopper plays a really extreme and perverse psychopath, and he's actually really frightening in a way. You're not really sure at first, like, he kind of seems like comical, and you're like, what is this man? But then the more you see his character, you're like, this man could literally, like, do anything right now. Like, that's what's scary about him. And he really did a good job in portraying him. Like, he's really believable. Like, he's a believable psychopath, which is, like, why he got away with it. Of course, I said all the characters before, but I think Dennis Hopper really took the cake in this one. Even more than Kyle MacLachlan. Because, I don't know, he's just... There was something really... He just stuck with you by the end of the movie. You're like...
Well, what is this man? Why is he doing... Like, what's wrong with him? So...
So I guess what really makes a Lynch film like a Lynch film is he kind of I guess took the inspiration from Hitchcock, where he takes these shots of I guess an object that's not perceived to be ominous or evil. Like for example, he took the shots of the ants in the beginning of the movie, and out of context you're just like, those are just ants, there's not really anything threatening about them. But he uses these shots to like forewarn someone or the audience that something evil is about to happen, or give like this ominous tone, and he sets them there for a couple of seconds, and somehow they make you feel like something awful is about to happen. And I think that's what's really important about a Lynch film, and he's done that with many of his works. For example, in Lost Highway, he usually used the videotapes to show that something awful is gonna happen. And at first you're just like, this is just a videotape, like, but then you saw obviously what happened, and you're just like, wow, like, this is starting to feel really creepy. So that's just one of Lynch's trademarks, and I guess
Kind of got it from Hitchcock. Sorry. And
I don't know, like, some people could say like, oh, like he copied that idea, but somehow it still works. I'm still scared by it. It still works. It works. Another Lynch theme is the neo-noir and surrealism that he applies to his films, which of course I appreciate because I just love. There's such a weird feeling to his works that I honestly like. I love it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because maybe that's why he's like a cult classic hit director. I'm not sure. Like, a lot of people aren't really comfortable watching his films. Maybe it's because of how absurd he makes them or how weird he makes them. But there's just something that, I don't know. It's like if he took like noir movies from like the olden days and just made them extremely bizarre and strange. And there's just, I
don't know, there's something really, I guess, like, captivating about it. And
you don't always pick up the message, but that's just the Lynchian way.
I don't really have anything bad to say about this film, like, at all, except maybe the lack of people of color in the film. So there's always that, you know, it's a little bit of the racism card in there. So besides that, I can't really complain.
So yeah, that's Blue Velvet, and I didn't really want to give out the spoilers for this movie because it's just a really good film that does not deserve to be spoiled. And I guess that's it. So yeah, you should watch it. And if you're in the mood for other Lynch films, you should really watch The Elephant Man if you want to cry your eyes out. And if you don't, you should watch Lost Highway and Twin Peaks.